Hey folks, Pastor Sean coming to you with today's daily devotion. Let me give you an update first. Carol Ferguson was at church on Sunday. She came around for special prayer and asked to be anointed by the elders of the church. We prayed over her, believing that God was going to touch her and heal her. She had to go in today for some heart surgery. She was going to have angioplasty and have some stents put in. That was all the plan of the doctor. There were some large blockages in her arteries. When they got in there, they didn't have to do the angioplasties. They didn't have to put in a single stent. Instead, they're going to give her some medication and change her diet up and do some things that will relieve those blockages. Now, when they got in there, those blockages were gone. They were gone. Why? Because the effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. It wasn't me. It wasn't you. It was God who did the miracle. God gets all the glory. But what we did was we followed the biblical instructions that say, if there are any sick among you, let them call for the elders of the church, anoint them with oil, pray the prayer of faith, believe that God is going to do it, and the prayer of faith shall save the sick. Another example of the healing power of Jesus Christ. How do you know, Pastor? I just know. I've seen God move too many times to not believe that he still heals, to not believe that he still moves, to not believe that he still cares for his people. It wasn't very long ago, a few years back, that my uncle came in and had a mass in his throat and needed a miracle from God. We laid hands on him. We anointed him with oil. We prayed, putting our faith into motion, and God moved. So much that when the doctors at Vanderbilt examined him, they couldn't even find the source of the cancer that was in his body just a few days earlier. That's the God that we serve. My cousin, her husband had a son, so that would be her stepson. Wonderful young man. His name's Josh. He had a mass in his throat. Came into church one day when we were in Rome, and Donnie said, "Pastor, can you look at this and tell me what you think it is?" And I looked, and it was swollen, it was nasty, and I said, "Bro, you need to get that checked out." Doctor said it was cancer. We prayed. He was healed. He had to go through some chemotherapy, had to go through some radiation to make sure that they got it all, but it was gone. It was healed. Why? Because God answers prayers. Now, today's verse is Matthew 20 and verse 28. It says that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. I told you Sunday in my message that we need to be willing. Christ was in the garden and he said, "Father, not my will, but thy will be done." He was willing to submit to God and allow his way to be taken out and God's way to be done. Why? Because our thoughts are not God's thoughts and our ways are not God's ways. God is in control of everything, even the chaos. Even the chaos. God is still in control. Now, he still heals. He still delivers. He still sets the captive free. He is still serving mankind. He is serving with miracles. He is serving with wonders. He is serving you and I, and he is our example. We must be willing to serve. I said this Sunday, we must be willing to serve. It's a great man who can lay down his pride and don the towel and wash someone's feet. It is a great man who can say, I know I'm the pastor. I know I'm a deacon. I know I'm an elder. I know I'm whatever, but I can still bag up the garbage and carry it out to the curb. I can still serve as well as I can lead. You will always find that great leaders are willing to serve. Why? Because most great leaders have a serving example. Now, those of us who are Christian, our serving example is Jesus Christ. There was no greater servant than him. Why? Because he left his throne in glory and came, poured himself into flesh, became like you and I, suffered and died upon Calvary's cross, rose from the dead, and fulfilled the plan of God. That is a servant. The God who created the universe, and I said this Sunday, the God who created the universe wrapped himself in a towel and washed the dirty feet of the men who would betray him, the men who would doubt him, the men who would deny him, the men who would flee from him. All of them left him. And yet he still served. He still washed their feet. He still broke bread with them. He still was willing to serve them even up to the point of death. What an example. And still today, he is serving us. He serves us with healings. He serves us with blessings. He serves us with the greatness that he is, the greatness of God. Salvation is extended to us, not because we've earned it, but because Christ is willing to serve. Where are you serving at today? Where is your service at? Who are you humbling yourself in front of so that God can exalt you in due time? Who are you serving? Find somebody. Help somebody. Extend a helping hand. Lift somebody out of the gutter. Lift somebody out of sin. Tell them about Jesus. Go out today. Find someone, somewhere, somehow that you can serve. I love you. I'm praying for you. I believe God has great things on the horizon this week for you. I hope you have a magnificent week. As always, God bless you is my prayer.